As far as prerequisites, I was required to take English, statistics, human development, humanities, a nutrition course, psychology, and A&P 1 and 2 with lab. As a co-requisite, I took microbiology with lab before applying to the program. I also took some extra courses just in case I wanted to apply to a different university or community college. So I took chemistry. And lastly, I decided to take medical terminology on my own. And it was a great call because it really helped me through A&P 2 and also my first semester of nursing school and so forth. Out of all the prereqs that I just spoke about, I would have to say A&P 1 and 2 with lab was the hardest. And it was the hardest because I wasn't used to the test taking style, such as the practicals. And so I had to basically rewire and retrain myself on how to study for it. So what worked best for me was using my iPad Pro at the time. And what I would do was use this app called Onenote, and I'll import any pictures that I took myself or images I got out the textbook or found on Google, and I would just basically rewrite over the image labeling the parts of the body. For this example, I will be using my Surface Pro with pen. It's going to work exactly the same way as an iPad. So no matter which one you have, you should be okay. I'm going to Google the textbook that we use for A&P 1. And check out the book, you guys. It had great hyperlinks and graphics, and the information was really in depth and clear. I really love this book. On the left side of the screen, you see a column that says get the book. You can get this book for free online via the app, download the PDF, or get the print copy, which does cost a little bit. You can also get it on iBooks or Kindle. The page that I'm going to be referencing is 319, but in the book itself is page 309. There's a picture that I really love. You see how nice and clean and clear this particular picture is. And this is the picture I'm going to use for our example. Let's pull up my search icon, and I'm going to click on snip and stitch. And when the app opens, all you do is click new, and then you select the area that you would like to screenshot. And once you have selected the picture, you just click the little floppy disk icon to save as. Now I have already did this before, so what I'm going to do is select the picture and pretty much save over it. Let's open up OneNote and get started. When you first open OneNote, it's going to give you a default notebook called My Notebook. What I'm going to do is create a new notebook just for the sake of this example. So I'm going to click on Add Notebook. And in this box, you can title your notebook whatever you like. For this example, I'm going to title this A&P Spring 2020. Then click Create Notebook. And it may take a little minute for it to populate, but when it first opens up, you see I have something that's called New Section 1. And then I have a page called Untitled Page. So I can right click on New Section 1 and rename it. Next, I'm going to right click on Untitled Page and rename that particular page Overview. Let's change the page color. Sometimes that really helps the content to pop. You also have options to add rule lines or grid lines. Normally, I prefer using grid lines. But for this example, it's not really necessary. So I'm going to click None. To insert an image, all you have to do is go over to Insert. Now you have a couple of options. You can choose File, Printout, or Pictures. But for this example, we're using an image, so we're going to click on Pictures. And so I'm going to select the image that I took a screenshot of earlier. Now I have already done this before, so I'm just going to click that image and replace it. Now here, normally what I do is I go into full screen just so I can have a much cleaner interface to work with. So I'm going to resize the image to a size that I like. I'm going to right click and save it as my background. I save it as my background just so I can write over the picture and I can do a number of different things without moving the picture by accident. And so the gray box you just saw is a text box that the picture was originally in when I imported it. But we don't need it, so I deleted it. Less mess equals less stress, honey. Now let's choose a pen color. But as you can see, I can choose a different thickness. So I'm going to choose the third circle. Now the color that I'm choosing is going to be white. And the reason for this is because I want to use this ink, digital ink, as like a whiteout. So I'm going to go through and white out all the words on the image. And I do that because I want to write out everything myself. You know, kind of like building up my muscle memory. As you can see, I'm just going through and whiting out all the words like I said before. And this process doesn't take that long. I have the tendency to write kind of big. So what I do if I have an image that has a lot of lines is go through and shorten them some. What I'm doing now is choosing a second pen color. As you can see, I can choose from a plethora of variety of colors. And that kind of works great when you want to color code. Let's begin the process of labeling the picture. Let's say for some reason I misspelled cranial. What I would do in the upper left hand corner is start to write the word at least 5 times or until I feel comfortable. I would repeat this process as many times as it takes, just until I feel comfortable with spelling the word. Once I feel comfortable, I just simply erase everything and continue with the process of labeling the bones of the body. As a reminder, I'm doing everything on my Surface Pro using my Surface Pro pen. Now, you don't have an iPad or a Surface Pro, that's okay. What I would do is print out the image and then get it laminated, or maybe use just like a clear title page cover and use a dry erase marker and continue the same process of writing out everything and then erasing it and continuing over and over until you're sure you know all the parts of the model. I'm going to import another image just to show you guys how to do that once again. But in this particular image, you will see that it has no lines and it is unlabeled. So this can be the equivalent of when you take your own picture or you take pictures of the model yourself in person. We're going to use the exact same steps that we did previously with the last image, except we don't have to white out anything, because as you can see, this image has no words or lines. Anytime you import an image into OneNote to write on it, what you should do is make sure you have enough writing room. So I have made that mistake plenty of times before. So this is just me resizing it and moving it over some. Anytime I switch to a different image, I like to use a new pen color. And the great thing about this, if I was to make a mistake, like for example, I'm misspelling cranial, right, intentionally, I can erase it and I don't have to worry about also erasing the whiteout. As I mentioned before about color coding, I just want to add the great thing about that, especially throughout this process, You can actually color code every time you switch to a different part of the body or the model that you're currently learning about. For me, that works great, especially when I'm taking my practicals, because if I'm unsure of the spelling of the word or the location of that particular body part and what it's called, sometimes color coding helps me actually remember what's the correct placement and what's the correct spelling. Here I'm going to zoom out and select the image in all of my labeling. And you'll see my cursor turns into the move tool, and I can reposition it anywhere on my canvas. The canvas is kind of unlimited.